everyone, it's Leanne with Lovely Scrappin'. So I'm here to do a quick tutorial on how I made my Easel stick pin card. I had a lot of requests just to do, a quick tutorial showing the matting and measurements and such. So I'm going to be doing this card in green, black, and cream. So let's get started. I'll let you know what you need. You're going to need at least one sheet of 12 by 12 in the black, one sheet of 12 by 12 in the green. Of course, choose whatever colors you want. I like to use 3 different colors typically in the projects or more. So one 12 by 12 in black, one 12 by 12 in green, and 8.5 by 11 in cream. And then these can be 6 by 6. I like 2 different patterns, and it could be a minimum of 6 by 6, one of each pattern for this project. But these are 8.5 by 11 because it's what I have. They're the recollection papers. But if you had like lots of 6 by 6 pads and you wanted to incorporate the papers in there, you can just choose 2 different designs in a 6 by 6, and that'll be enough. So I've pre-cut my papers already. So I'll try to post the measurements as I go along here so you guys don't get lost. So you're going to take your 12 by 12 paper and cut it in half, so 6 inches by 12, and this is going to be part of your card base. Then with the other half of the black paper, you're going to cut that in half to get a 6 by 6. Okay? And then, so this will be the front that you're going to be working on. You're going to be matting it with a cream. And this is 5 6/8 of an inch by 5 6/8 of an inch. And I've already put my score tape on it to make the process faster. So that'll be on there. And then you're going to take your green and have it 5 9/16 by 5 9/16. And that will go on top of that. Then you're going to have a black, some of that leftover black. And this is 5 1/8 by 5 1/8 of an inch. And that will go on the front, and then you're going to choose one of your designer papers, and if it was 6 by 6, just cut it down so it's 5 by 5. Okay, so 5 by 5, and that will go on there, and that will give you, once it's all nicely on there, that will give you your base to do all your decorations on. Okay, then you're going to need, for the inside, I put just the green, and it is 5 5/8 by 5 5/8 of an inch. And that'll be, so this is going to be the inside of the card, okay? Then you're going to take a cream color and have it 2 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/2 inches, and that'll go approximately around here. And then you're going to take your other pattern paper. This is my polka dot one, and it's 2 5/8 of an inch by 5 1/4 of an inch. And that will go onto here. And then this will be what we're going to make the stick pin holder out of, okay? And it is 4 7/8 of an inch by 2 6/8 of an inch. Okay? I hope you got all the measurements. If not, stop, rewind, and get your measurements cut up, okay? And now we're going to get started and assemble your card. I also made, like if you have your own homemade stamp, I just already matted this and put it on here, just using some of the same paper, and I just stamped onto some cream cardstock, trimmed off the edges, and then just matted it. So that'll go on the very back of the card. Okay, so let's start the scoring. So you're going to need your 6 by 12 and the stick pin cream color piece, which is 4 7/8 of an inch by 2 6/8 of an inch. Okay, and we're going to do some scoring on there. And we'll put these aside for the moment. We'll get the scoring done first. So just take your 12 by 6. You're going to grab your square board or your, if you have, your paper trimmer and you want to use that, you can do that. So this is the textured side, so this will be the inside of my card. So you're going to just put it up onto your scoreboard. I'm just using a Martha Stewart scoreboard, and you're going to do a score at 3 inches. Then at 5 5/8 of an inch. So here's 5, and there's 5/8 of an inch. And then at 6 inches. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see. So there's my 3 inch, my 5 5/8 of an inch, and my 6 inch. Okay, and that's going from this side to this side. Okay, so let's put that aside, and now we're going to take our stick pin holder. Okay, again, those are the dimensions. We're going to just put it along this way, okay, because we're going to be doing the score lines going down this way, and we're going to score it at 1 inch, at 1¼ inch, at 1½ inch, and at 1¾ inch. Okay, so that gives you, if you guys can make out, I'm trying to make it so the lighting can pick up on the score. So there's an inch from this end to the first score line and an inch from this end to the first score line. Then you have 3 score lines at 1/4 inch each. Okay? So again, if you didn't catch my scoring, it's at 1 inch, 1¼ inch, 1½ inch, 1¾ inch. Okay? So that is that. So let's just get rid of the scoreboard here and let's just fold the card here first. Okay, so first thing is first, we're going to fold it in half. And just use your bone folder. Okay, then we're going to fold this next score line in. Okay, and then you're going to score this, or fold the next score line. And the reason for, so what's going to happen is your card is going to be like this, okay? It's going to need that extra little bit because of the stick pins, okay? Can you guys make that out? So it's going to be almost like a matchbook style. So it needs that, that little bit there because of the stick pins inside. So this will be the back of your card, and this part here is where you're going to be adhering the front, and I'll show you how we're going to do that in a second, okay? But for the time being, let's just put this aside now that we've done our fold, and it looks like this. So you're going to just take each one and fold it over and reinforcing it with your bone folder. Okay, so I have just folded each one. See how each one is nicely folded? So when it goes onto the paper, sorry, this one will get folded back. This one will get folded back. And then the little bits will fold like that. Okay, and that's where your stick pins will get put, is through there. So that's that portion, okay? So let's mat the very first page, okay? Okay, so you're going to just take your cream mat that is 5 6/8 inch by 5 6/8 inch and prepare it for lining it up in here. Now what I like to do ahead of time is just take a look at my sizing first, like does it look even? And what I also do is I took a little pencil already and I just marked the edges on the one side so that once the tape is off, all I do is line up my corners to the little pencil markings and then it'll go flat down right into the exact spot that I want. So I do that ahead of time so that, you know, once the tape's off and it's down, that's it, right? If you pull it up, you're going to ruin it and you have to cut up some new paper. I like to put paper in here. Some people pull this off partly. I know, Becca, you do that. Pull it off partly and put it down, and then once you like it, then you rip off your tape. But I like to put stuff on the inside, so if I was to do that, it would already be stuck down because of the tape that I'd have to take off here because there's no way to sneak it off. So anyway, hope that made sense. So all I'm going to do is take off the backing of my tape and just start the matting process. Okay, so I'm just going to take this down. Hopefully I can do this with a tripod in between my arms. So I'm going to take my little pencil markings, and I know you guys can't see it on the camera, but I can see it here. I'm just going to line up my corners of my mat on those little pencil markings, and then that will give me a perfect mat the way I wanted it to be. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and secure it down nicely. Okay, so that's my first one, and that turned out great. So I don't have pencil markings on this one, so I'll do it and show you what I mean. So the next one is going to be the green. mat, and that is 5 9/16 by 5 9/16 of an inch. I'm going to do ahead of time and see exactly where I want this. I like it right about there. And I'm just going to take my pencil, and I can erase it afterwards, and just very lightly just do a little teeny tiny mark. So that's all it looks like. It's just a teeny mark that I'm going to line up my corners so that I know exactly where my mat is going to lie, and it's going to be even. So I'm going to line up my corners again. Right there. Perfect. It might not be perfect, but you know. Okay, so the next one is going to be the black. Now what I do here, because this is going to be up on raised, I want this raised up on foam pieces, okay, because I want some dimension to my card. So I didn't put any sticky stuff here because I'm going to be putting foam tape there. So I'm going to adhere this to this first. And this one here, I just kind of look ahead of time. I won't put the marks on it because it's just a very slight matting. And I know precisely just by eyeballing it where I want it. So I always like to look at it and check out my measurements first. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is put it onto here, but I'm going to put foam pieces. Pieces. Okay, so I put all the foam tape on here that I wanted and taken the backings off, so ready to stick it down. So I'm just going to eyeball it here. There you go. So I'm just also going to take my eraser to erase the little markings that I made. So that is the front piece, okay? So this part here, now getting the card, so remember we scored it at the 6-inch line here, and we have the little matchbook give there, and then this part here. So what you're going to want to do when you adhere this on is we're going to want this to be even with the top score line. So we're not going to have this folded in half, okay? It's not going to be like that. It's going to be the top of this card is going to be lined up with the top of the score line here, okay? So that when it shuts, it will be even with the bottom. However, it's not going to get adhered right here. So the only place you're going to put score line tape or score tape is right here, or ATG. I'm just going to use my ATG so it's quicker. So again, you're just putting tape on this portion, okay? Okay, so once you've got your adhesive on this portion of the card, you're just going to put it down like this, and you're going to figure out what you want the bottom to be here. You're going to be lining it up with this score line, so the top part. Just like that, okay? So all you're going to do is just flip it over and then adhere that part down. Okay, so now when you close it, the bottom lines up and you have that little gap there. I hope that made sense. So when you open it, the bottom part of this isn't flush with the part that you just adhered on, okay? There's going to be that little bit of a gap, which is fine. Okay, so that's the inner part of the card. And so now you can decorate the outside however you like. The inside of the card is going to be, you're going to have that 5 5/8 of an inch by 5 5/8 of an inch. And we're going to just put it down on here. I'm going to make my little marking. So just take your paper, line it up with the little markings or however you want to do it. And you don't want to put paper here because you need this to bend, okay? Because remember, it's not adhered down all the way right here. So you don't want that. Okay, so this is what we have so far. We've got the inner part matted, this part, so it will pull up once that stick pin thing is in there. It's going to pull up and hold like that. Okay. So now we can put this, adhere this down onto each other, stick it together. I'm going to just mark this. So again, this is the polka dot piece that's 2 5/8 by 5 1/4 inch. I'm going to lay it down. I'm just going to erase my little marks. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay this down on here. And I'd like to leave a little bit of green, more green on the bottom. Okay, and so the cream one is the 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. And this one I'll just eyeball. Okay, so now for this part, you're just going to be adhering this piece, these pieces down. So I'm going to put some score tape on there. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've added my score tape to this now. Now the best thing to do here, and I really would advise you to use a pencil and do the marking on this one because yeah, it could look funny if you don't get it right. So you're just going to lay it down and then pinch this part together so it, is the right angles, exactly the way you want it, so this is like a little cube, right? So you're going to just play with the paper and kind of estimate exactly where this is going to go on your matting. So the first thing I'm going to do is just mark my upper corners. Okay, then I'm going to mark my lower corners, and I'm going to do one at a time. So I'm just going to take my adhesive off of this. This just makes it easier. You can do it whatever way you want, but so I'm just going to line up my corners here to the little markings that I made so it's exactly where I want it. Okay, and I'm going to put it down. So all that has done is just adhere this first part, okay? So all of that is still free, so then just going to make sure this is going to be good when I line up my little corners. Now I'm going to take off my score tape. And be very, very careful because it will like to stick. So I just do my first corner. And then my last corner. And then hopefully this will be nice and square. Of course it doesn't have to be perfect, but anyway, so that turned out pretty good, and it's nice and pretty decent angles there as well as there. So this is where you'll just pop your stick pins in. Now for the first card I did, I just used the Tim Holtz styled labels, and I like this one. It seems to fit a bit better in there. Depending on the size, you might need to move your matting down here in order to fit this one, but I think I'm going to use this one, so I'm going to go cut it and I'll be right back. So again, you can choose whichever color paper you want for this. I just like to pull out a bit more of the cream with this, so I just cut out two. So this one, so you can see it's a little bit like you'd have to like maybe put it on before you do the matting if you wanted to use this one, just because of the little points. But this one here I found fits perfectly on there, so I'll use this one. And I'm just going to use glossy accents for this one. Some people were asking, you know, they thought that glossy accents was just for like the epoxy sort of a finished look, like the glossy look on top of a project, but it also is an amazing adhesive. I love using this as an adhesive. Some of you might also love it. just love it. You just have to be careful that you don't put too much, because especially on a project like this, if anything seeps out, it's going to be glossy unless you move it and get rid of all of it. So the reason why I like this is because it gives some a little bit of give, right, when you want to move something over a bit. So I'm not going to use my bone folder too hard because I don't want any oozing. Just enough to seal down the edges. And that's it, guys. I mean, the rest is all up to you to decorate, to add your stick pins. Yeah, it's just super fun card. I really had fun creating this card, and I'm so overwhelmed with the response of my card, my first recorded card. So now, as you see, like when you close it, it's pretty much flush even, because we gave that little bit of a gap there. It's nice and even because of the little square there, and the stick pins will be on that, right? So that when you have your stick pins in there, I mean, right now it can sit like that still because it catches on the paper, but when your stick pins are in there, along there, it'll catch the edge of the stick pin and sit beautifully and display both your wonderful front of your card as well as your stick pins. So really love doing this card. I hope you guys found this inspirational, and I'm also just going to stick my little label on the back because I got it here. There we go, that's the finishing touch. So all I'm going to do is finish up this card, you guys, and stay tuned for a video on the completed card. This is going to a very special friend. So anyways, I hope you guys like it, and I hope you give it a try. Let me know what you think. Anyways, guys, I hope you like it. I hope you make one. Take care, everyone. Happy scrapping. Bye.